welcome to Build Brunch, the daily morning show where we talk about the latest topics in pop culture. I'm Brittany Jones-Cooper.
I'm Shannon Coffey.
I'm Allie Colbert.
And I'm Lucas Tim. Hi, everyone.
Today we're going to talk about a surprise reveal from Jennifer Lopez, why Katy Perry may be in hot water for her music, and the reason fans are upset with YouTubers Jake Paul and Tana Mongeau's wedding. Plus, Barbara Kavovit from The Real Housewives of New York City joins the table, but first...
we have some plant-based blends on the table. Plant products contain organic hemp extract, which includes the full spectrum of cannabinoids. Plant Blend offers healthy, hydrating, plant-based beverages for your body, mind, and gut. Flavors include pineapple, caramel, turmeric, ginger, mint, and matcha.
Yeah. Say those words, Lucas.
I
Say
forgot
those
to
words.
read.
I took the turmeric and ginger. I know that's really good for inflammation, too. And CBD is good for inflammation. You should have no inflammation after drinking this.
Yeah, I love how pretty this bottle is. I feel like the vibe is so right.
Oh, that's really good.
The vibe.
So is this going to just make me really chilled out, though, if it has CBD in it?
Yeah, we're just gonna sit here in
CBD is
silence
gonna
and
really mess you up, man.
I was going to say, this is going to be the chillest show you've ever seen.
Tastes really
Wait,
good.
I forget. Does CBD? What does it do, Allie?
Doesn't get you high.
Oh, thank you. Well, then I'm not going to drink
A
it.
lot of people think that CBD gets them high. It does not. Just wanted to clear that up.
No, I actually really love CBD and drinks for inflammation, but also when I'm gonna take a stressful commute, I need it, you know? Because otherwise I'm like, how dare you sit there?
I don't feel anything from CBD beverages or snacks. I need the THC to feel something.
Well, I'm already feeling this, so.
Well,
Works on
damn,
me.
you're pretty easy.
Oh.
Cardi B is getting political. The rapper sat down with Bernie Sanders to film a campaign video regarding youth involvement in the 2020 presidential election. She also recently encouraged influencers and vloggers to use their platforms to share information about candidates. Take a look.
What up, y'all? I only got 1 minute to say this, so I'm gonna say this really fast. Dear bloggers, dear YouTubers, dear influencers, we have the power to influence our youth to get educated when it comes to our Democratic candidates. You see, the Republicans, they are afraid to stand up to Trump because he might take their positions away from them. But the Democrats, they just don't give a fuck. And my thing is, right, that we get distracted with people putting Trump on blast, like CNN constantly putting Trump on blast on the illegal shit that he has been committing in this country because he puts things on Twitter that distract us from all the bullshit that he actually be doing. So instead of us posting the little bullshit that he be posting on Twitter, why don't we post every single day these positive things that these Democratic candidates want to do for our country? Like, this man has a big chance of winning in 2020, and we could change that.
Yeah, Cardi. Press.
She's right. I want her to moderate all the future Democratic debates coming up. I think this is great. I love when famous people use their celebrity for good causes, and I think there's no greater cause than the 2020 election. And she's a Bernie Sanders supporter, which I gotta love. I think that's really amusing and funny, but she really knows her stuff. You know, her favorite president's FDR, and she asked Bernie about student debt, climate change, minimum wage, things that really young people care about. And we all know that if more young people voted in 2016, Hillary Clinton would have won by a landslide, and they didn't. And this is our chance to take our country back for our future.
Yeah, it's really great because she can actually reach that young audience. I feel like people who are young and usually not in tune with these debates are actually going to tune in because of Cardi. Whereas sometimes celebrities are like, you should care, and you're like, you're only reaching 50-year-olds.
Right, yeah.
Be quiet, Kenny G.
Yanni.
I mean, no, he's really great at what he does. I just think he reaches a different audience.
He reaches me. I actually grew up listening to Kenny G. Real talk. My mom only listened to Kenny G and Yanni and Anita Baker.
Ooh. Kenny G and Laurel?
Wait, you just made someone sigh, though. They didn't laugh, but they were like,
They went, I do like these the Cardi B videos because it's almost like political cliff notes. The way she simplifies it and breaks it down actually does make it super accessible. She's like, Trump's bullshit. They don't like it. Democrats are gonna lose jobs if they don't care. I'm like, yeah, that's the gist.
Right. Also, she says, learn your candidates. She keeps things very simple. But yeah, I think it's great. And I think to piggyback on what Shannon was saying, I think her demo of fans, I would expect, are not very in tune to what's happening and probably would not watch the debates. But she could possibly get people to watch a debate that happened last night and see Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders defend their Medicare for All against more moderate candidates and see really get people to understand what's at stake, what these candidates are arguing. And I like that. I like what she's saying because I think we too get warped in the weeds of Trump's inappropriate tweets to his just debauchery. And she's saying, focus on Democrats. They're proposing cool things. This is what the future can offer if we pay attention.
I wonder if Elizabeth Warren and Kamala are pissed that they didn't think about this, because really Bernie kind of already has young people in his pocket, and people of color tend to like him. Some of those other candidates probably needed a little more than he does.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they're calling up different people, like Nicki Minaj probably right now, like who's got to get the Nicki vote.
Nicki.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, when people get endorsed by celebrities, does it matter and how it affects their image?
It will be interesting though, because there are so many Democratic candidates, to see who our celebrities start aligning themselves with. I really do think it will start to help narrow the field a little bit. Like if Beyonce comes out and endorses somebody, I really do think that will have an impact on who's running.
You're like, on me.
On me. I'm just waiting for her to tell me who to vote for.
Wait, didn't she go for Beto O'Rourke last time?
For Texas.
For Texas?
Yeah, when he was running.
Maybe she'll shout him out again. But I think she did it like the last minute possible.
Yeah, she did.
It was like the polls are closed, and she was like, he's not that bad.
And also the same thing with Hillary. Like they was at a concert like literally like the last minute possible. Like, okay, would have been nice maybe 3 months ago, but she would be a good endorsement. I think the celebrity endorsement Beyonce would be up there.
Yeah. And good job for Cardi. Do you think she's been inspired by the Kardashians? Because when she did her interview with Bernie and when she did that little video, she definitely was like dressed very professionally.
Well, Cardi professionally.
But still,
And a $9,000 outfit needing Bernie's hand, which is so funny because what he stands for. I don't know. I think she really comes from a kind of a rags to riches, and so these policies that specifically Bernie, who's uber to the left of really giving free college, free healthcare, I think genuinely supports, because I would believe she's been there with nothing and having nothing. And I think so more than the Kardashians, who I don't insult. They're doing good work on their own. But I think Cardi has a more genuine feeling of like, these are policies that I support because I was once in a situation where I couldn't afford anything.
Yeah, that's true. Good for you, Cardi.
Yeah, good for you, Cardi. Woo!
Press.
Got the red bottom shoes, but she's political. Jennifer Lopez got a sweet ride for her milestone 50th birthday. The singer was gifted a red convertible Porsche from her fiancé, Alex Rodriguez, who shared the special moment on YouTube along with a shocking reveal from J-Lo. Take a look.
Oh my God! I'm gonna have to drive? Oh my God! What is he doing?
You like it? You like it?
Oh my God, it's beautiful! I've never driven a car like that. I've never had a car like this. I've never driven a car, period.
I'm so pleased to see J-Lo get so excited over a car, knowing that her net worth is so astronomical that this like blows her away.
Right.
Like, what? Like, you could buy 1 million of these cars, but she's like acting like this is like her Super Sweet 16 on MTV.
It really did look like a Super Sweet 16.
You know, like she's just so stoked, and it makes me happy to see her so genuine. Like she's someone who always is so curated, I feel like, and like is always trying to be in control. So seeing her like surprised and happy, I'm like it's like endeared me to her in a way.
Yeah, she has the best life ever. I think in the last year, I've just been like, she really has everything. This man is so sprung on her. He is A-Rod. He has dated every celebrity. He is just putting all his eggs in this basket. He is constantly like, she's the best. You're the best mother. You're beautiful. Our children, like, he is so in love with her. I've never seen
Do they have kids together?
She has two children. He has two children. And they're like the Brady Bunch. Like, they love each other's kids and everybody hangs out. And it looks like this perfect blended family.
He is so into her.
He is so into her.
I think every man that J-Lo has been with has become a better man when they date her. I mean, Ben Affleck was dressed better, was better. Mark Anthony was better, more famous. Alex Rodriguez, who's kind of a player, kind of not a really well-known, nice guy, has become a gentleman, dating her, and such a fanboy to his now fiance. So not surprised. J-Lo is a huge catch. So I'd be on my best behavior too.
It is just startling to see. Have you seen the picture of him? So it was A-Rod, Mark Anthony, and J-Lo all together, and it was like, always be careful of that third wheel, because he was just like waiting for Mark Anthony to mess up and move in.
Oh, really?
And, like, go for his shot. Yeah, they were like at a Yankees game.
Oh, wow.
And it's always like, always be wary of the nice guy, because he's just like sitting there with them, but like, I'm gonna steal your wife. And he did, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I support the relationship. I'm so happy to see her happy. I really was. Like, I grew up with Mark Anthony, like, listening to his music, so when they got together, it was like a Puerto Rican's dream.
Yeah.
Like, and I just like loved them together. I was so happy they had kids. I was like, we're in it. It's gonna be forever. We're gonna get the albums. And then they broke up, and I was like, no. But I am really excited because their children are already like singing online, and like J-Lo, you know, she knows her skill set, and she was like, oh, they have their dad's voice, because like the baby girl's so good.
Yeah, Emmy was singing, and then they had the little guy rapping the other day. For her birthday, she had everybody perform for her. So her son rapped Hamilton, and she was like hyping him up, and she was like standing up and stuff. She just seems like I don't know, she's just the best.
And I'm not surprised she's never driven before. I mean, because if it, like, when's the last time Jennifer Block took the subway? Probably in the 90s. But it was the last time that she got famous, and when you're famous, you're driven around.
Yeah.
You don't drive usually. So I'm not surprised she's like, I've never driven, because she was a New Yorker, then she became famous, and she
Well, I mean, I see famous people on the subway all the time, but I think when you're a diva, which that's this brand of, you know, pop star.
What famous people do you see on the subway?
I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal rides the train all the
Yeah.
time. I saw Felicity Huffman and William H. Macy on the train before.
Yeah, that's
Sarah
the
Jessica
type of level
Parker,
of
Andy
celebrity.
Cohen. Like,
Yeah.
those kind of celebrities definitely ride the train. But J-Lo, she's like...
Well, her party looked amazing. She had at the Estefan estate on Star Island in Miami, and like it was this amazing party that apparently even Ryan Seacrest wasn't allowed into initially because the didn't have him on the list. So he was invited. He was invited, and he flew down for it because he didn't know it was in Miami, but he had to be there. He loves J-Lo, and he apparently went to the bouncer and they're like, "You're not on the list." He's like, "What? I'm
That's
Ryan
amazing.
Seacrest." But they eventually let him in and stuff. But hey.
Now imagine you telling someone like, I'm Ryan Seacrest.
And they'd be like, who?
That guy from American Idol?
Like, okay.
Oh, man.
Well, happy birthday, J-Lo.
We love you.
Yeah. A jury has decided that Katy Perry's 2013 song Dark Horse has copied a Christian rap song titled Joyful Noise. The case will go through a penalty phase to determine how much money Perry owes for the infringement. Yeah.
So the first second I heard this, I mean, I have learned a bit about Katy Perry's upbringing, and she had a really religious, like, she was a childhood, like, very into the Christian church. And
They're preachers, they're pastors, right?
Yeah, her name used to be
Yeah.
Katie Hudson.
And I know her parents were like super offended when she came out with like her first few like edgier tracks about kissing girls.
Yeah.
So like the fact that she probably tried to steal a church song, I believe that's
Well-
childhood Katy playing rebellion.
Yeah, I mean, it's not technically a church song, it's a rap Christian song. I don't know if you've ever been to church before, but they don't sing
Yeah.
No,
rap.
I haven't. I'm Jewish.
I know, so they don't sing it, but I have listened.
Forever and ever.
Yeah, it's more of a.
That's a classic
That's a
one.
church song.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you do listen
Breaking
to
out the
it,
church humor.
love you, God. The beats are very similar. It sounds like Katy Perry's just slowed down
Yeah.
the beat, and that's the only thing
It
that's
doesn't
different
sound
with
like it to me.
Oh, really? I heard back.
Not the chorus.
No, but the dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun,
And that little
dun,
weird
dun.
sound
Yeah.
is in it.
Very similar. I mean, if
Why
you know,
can't you take that?
I
Just
guess you have
take
to
it.
pay for it.
I mean, Vanilla Ice is so David Bowie. This is
Yeah.
equally as similar, I think.
Yeah.
To yeah.
And the lyrics are wildly different.
Oh yeah. Well, the songs are so completely
So you
different.
know.
But I do love it that Dark Horse, God love you, Katy Perry, has 6 songwriters, and they're all getting sued. 6
There's 6
songwriters
on
on Dark Horse, which
Is she
is
considered a
not
rapper?
imagined by John. I mean,
She's a beast. I call her Karma.
yeah.
I eat her heart out like Jeffrey Dahmer. It took 6
6
people to
writers
write
like
that.
that.
Well, no, the thing
Wow.
is, like, with that process, if you come in and go, well, let's add a little right here, then that person gets a credit.
Right.
Like, it's so wild in that collaborative
Yeah.
experience that no matter what you add, your name is going to be there.
Totally. And you have ownership over the song.
Yeah.
That's why
Wait,
you want
does
to
she
write
have
them.
a writing credit
Yes.
on it?
She co-writes all her music.
Okay,
Yeah.
so she.
So who's to blame for this then? Like did somebody?
Maybe
do
she
you
didn't
think she
us.
did it, or like was a producer?
I don't know.
There's a chance that only a few of them knew.
But they're gonna be. I wonder how much money they're gonna get because this was the first music video by a female artist to reach 1 billion views on YouTube. Dark Horse. So like,
No, it's a huge
I mean, and you get money, royalty fees from
3.5 billion.
I mean, so I would expect these Christian rappers to be getting a hefty payday or ownership over Dark Horse, which would be huge for them.
Yeah.
Because royalty fees would be a rich, I think, well off the rest of their lives.
And apparently, this is already our makeup artist listens to Christian music, and she was like, "This is a huge Christian artist. So if you're gonna rip off somebody, don't rip off one of the most prominent Christian artists.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be obvious, and she did anyway.
Right, and yeah, it came out, I think that song came out in 2008, Dark Horse came out in 2015, so not that many years.
The proof is in the pudding, and let me tell you, the pudding isn't Lucas.
Pudding, oh yeah, I want to
Lucas
clarify,
is
I am not the pudding. I thought pudding meant...
No,
Just don't.
Yeah, just you're
Don't go too deep.
you're
Dude,
you're the
just
spoon.
say you're
We
the
got
spoon.
it. Do you remember that story where Katy Perry was trying to buy a church, like a really old church, and these nuns were really upset with her about it?
Yes.
And so she was trying to impress them, and to impress them, when she met with them, she like dressed conservatively and then showed them her Jesus tattoo, and they were like, "You suck."
Even worse.
So there's this
hate her. I
didn't know
California
that.
convent that Katy Perry wanted to buy to make her mansion. The convent was selling it, but they did not want to sell it to Katy Perry, so she tried to impress these nuns. And God, I am such a nun
Is this
fan.
what
I
Shannon
love nuns.
just said?
Yeah, but it's so fun. I'm just reiterating.
But I mean, it's like when I said it, it came from the mouth of a Satanist, so people were like, "Lies, devil woman." And then once
No,
you
I
said
could
it,
Shannon is
Shannon
100% right.
literally just said that, and then
Sorry, I
Lucas
just get
said it
excited.
again.
I just get excited.
we all do that to each
Yeah.
other.
And remember when she met with the Pope? Katy Perry?
Oh, wait, I didn't remember.
Yeah, she met with Pope Francis, was dressed very conservatively. Katy Perry still is I think when you grow up very religious, still has that very religious kind of complex
She
relationship.
does,
Like Madonna,
yeah.
like Madonna. I mean,
She does,
similar.
but she's really, I think, like Madonna, explored a lot of different religions. I think she was really into religion. And so
Yeah.
even when she was with Russell Brand, I remember like she was studying
Oh my
like
God, Russell Brand.
Buddhism and like
Yeah.
getting really deep into that. Like,
Where's Russell Brand?
I love Russell Brand.
So
He's probably on a bender somewhere.
I do. I know he's
You
so.
would.
I think he's so problematic, and he's really interesting, but he's so smart and he's crazy. I think he's just this crazy kind of smart dude.
Yeah.
I don't
Sometimes
know.
your opinions are trash.
I could see you dating Russell Brand.
Me too.
Me too. I would
Dating
braid his
him.
hair. We'd be a beautiful.
He is
No.
someone who's so ugly hot.
That's what I'm saying. I'm into it.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I feel something.
Ugly. Hot.
I don't know. He did this amazing documentary about the opioid problem, heroin issue in London, and he's so passionate about it and so well versed on it. So that's what I mean. Like the work that he does, the good work that he does is really good. He does a lot of other wild shit, but like
You know who is also so hot? Russell Crowe. YouTube stars Jake Paul and Tana Mojo tied the knot this weekend in what is being dubbed the YouTube royal wedding. However, the occasion was not a fairy tale for some fans who paid money to tune into a live stream only to find the feed frozen with no audio. Users are taking to Twitter to request a refund.
This is so funny to me that it was frozen for so many people because I didn't pay anything to see this wedding and it was on my feed everywhere, like clipped out. And I was just like, I don't want to see this. Stop, you guys. And it looked to me like, if you ever watched like wrestling, it looked to me like that like local wrestling gang who would like put videos on the internet and be like, hey Bobby, you're not gonna get me, man. I'm gonna kill you. Because like literally like Jake Paul jumped in and during the ceremony, not like after the wedding, like during the wedding, they just finished their vows and he's like, I got something I want to say. And then a fight broke out. Like it was just like so intense and I was like, I need help.
Yeah, and the guy who was being the priest like beat the shit out of the
Yeah, this
guy
is
who
the video
started the
of
fight. Look, he's about to go in. He's about to go in. There was the priest. Oh God, it goes.
where
Love
are
him.
we?
Jesus.
What is
Yeah.
this? Who are these people?
And then I saw a list of someone, guys, this took me down a weird little hole, but I saw a list of like all the crazy things that happened at this wedding. And someone was like, and Riley Reid got naked. And I was like, who's Riley Reid? Why'd she get naked at this wedding? And I looked her up and she's like a pornographic actress. I was like, well, that's not odd. When I looked up her Twitter, the first video I saw, and like, you know, like earmuffs if you don't want to hear it, was like, her celebrating half naked, like bent over with a incense stick coming out of her butthole.
What?
And I was like, with the guidelines. I was like, what's happening? Like, is that how we're celebrating weddings now?
Yes.
I don't want to put incest.
Incest?
Or incest.
I don't
Either.
want incest, and I also don't want incense in my butthole.
I'm interested to see the rest of this guest list if she was on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's insane.
It looks like, I think, a lot of wild people, but yeah, my thoughts are with
Stormy
Bella
Daniels?
Thorne, who's like really upset about this wedding.
Oh.
Who?
Oh.
Bella
Bella
Thorne.
Thorne.
Why?
Right.
Because she used to date her, and like they like broke up, and she like a lot of people are speculating this is fake, you know, allegedly, and like even his brother was like, it's gonna last a month. No, a month and a half.
Wow.
Like he was thinking of a contract. He was like, no, it's a month and a half.
So I guess was it just
Okay.
maybe a cash grab? Because I think they charge $50 to $75 per viewer. So I think 66,000 people are now requesting a refund. So that's like $3 million or something like that.
Oh my God.
So it's like, maybe it was just a cash grab, but then now that the live stream failed, they're not, what was
Jesus,
the point?
can they fix the live stream? So many people have issues with live streams.
This is so upsetting to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
This is so upsetting.
I'll send you all the videos.
What
They
part?
are entertaining.
Just the whole notion of like, that's why I love what Cardi B did. Like this just bugs me. But
Oh.
no, I'm just saying I'm not fans of them. So when people pay to watch people get married and I think it seems very like contrived and not. I get sad.
Who would you pay
Lucas
to
is
watch
the
a
biggest
live stream
Housewives
of their
fan.
wedding?
Oh, well, I would have watched Beyonce and Jay-Z's wedding, but I think that is like
Super private.
Super private, but they're
Who
classy
cares?
individuals.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I'd watch them have sex.
Yeah.
I have watched them have sex.
Don't tease.
Well, now it's time for today's guests. You may know Barbara Kavovit from the Real Housewives of New York City, or as a construction mogul who has taken the world by storm. Today, she's here to talk about her novel, Heels of Steel, a summer read that tells the story of a woman fighting her way to the top of the construction industry. Everyone, please give a warm Bill Brunch welcome to Barbara Kavovit. Hi, thanks for coming on. Nice to meet you.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
How you
Hello,
doing?
Barbara.
Hi.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you guys.
I had to look to see if you were wearing heels of steel.
I'm wearing heels of steel and a spray tan, so
Yes.
there you
You
go.
look amazing.
But not a wrap dress.
No, but maybe later on tonight I will crop, wrap, all good.
I love the wrap dress. Disclosure.
but it's kind of like a little
Kind
bit
of
of
is,
a
a little
wrap.
bit.
It is.
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us
Thanks for
today.
having me.
I think this is such a cool concept for your book. I know it's based off your personal story, so how does it feel that people are going to get to read it or inspired by your personal story?
You know, I get emails all the time. I'm in construction. I want to be in construction. You guys, you are such like a force, a pioneer, because I didn't know how to do it. And now I'm kind of paving the way for women to be in this male-dominated field in New York City. And it feels great. I've been doing it for such a long time. And I think it's about time that women get their day in court in a male-dominated field.
Absolutely. And the story is based on a woman named Bridget Steele, and she wants to be the first woman to build a skyscraper.
Yep.
So what parts of her story were actually inspired by your story?
Well, really, most of the book is true.
Okay.
It's based on my story, and I didn't want to write a memoir because, you know, I didn't want to like give it away as far as names, and I didn't want to end up in the Hudson River somewhere.
You still want to have social life in the Hamptons. I get it.
So I really believe that from my perspective as a woman, to tell the story about how I had to fight the unions, how I had to get rats in front of my buildings when I was working at Bloomingdale's, all of that is really true. And I wanted everyone to know that you don't have to have any resources. I didn't come from any money. I was born and raised in the Bronx. And you can do it just by being passionate about what you love.
Yeah. So you mentioned a lot of the stories are true, which means the characters are probably based off of real people. So what was that process like? Did you have to get permission, or did you just go for it?
No, that's what's great about writing a novel. You can just write your heart out, you know? I mean, if you read the book, Jason is a love interest, and he's a competitor in the book. And we end up competing to build this skyscraper. And is it between, you know, do you want the love, or do you want to, you know, be successful in business?
Like You've Got Mail.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, with a twist.
Yeah, definitely.
With a twist,
Way
like a
cooler
wrench,
twist.
with a wrench. And so it was like, it's really exciting to see what this woman chose to do, like against all odds. She went to build the skyscraper.
Yeah.
She was like, screw this, I'm gonna build it, and if you're around when I'm done, I'll pick you up at, you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Jason in the book. Why was it important to make the book sexy and romantic as well?
Well, I think, you know, I was trying to skew towards the younger audience, and I think it's important, you know, for women that are just, you know, kind of developing and not sure which way to go. This was really an inspirational book, and I wanted a woman or a young girl to be able to read it and be like, I can do anything I set my mind to do because Bridget Steele did it. So that's why it was, you know, really important.
Yeah. And you've been meeting with producers to potentially turn this novel into a movie.
Yes,
Which would be so exciting.
yeah.
What is that process like? And I'm curious who in an ideal world would you have play Bridget?
That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. Well, I just got back from LA and we met with movie producers and different, production companies, and it seems like it will be a TV series in the very near future.
Wow.
And everybody asks me the same thing: who do you want to play Bridget Steele? And I say the same thing: Jennifer Lopez.
Hey, but no joke, I was just gonna suggest that I can see it.
Yes, J-Lo. There's nobody else. She's from the Bronx. She took the 6 train.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
But she did that movie Second Act, and
That's
right?
right.
And it's like I could see it.
And she played the cop in that other.
Shades of Blue?
Yep, Shades of
She
Blue.
would be perfect for this.
And do you remember when she did the video, and she was like Jennifer Beal in Flashdance?
Yes.
And
Oh my God.
She was like that iron worker. I
Yes.
mean, she wrote the
perfect.
part for herself.
I love,
so-
yeah.
Totally.
That's perfect.
Actually,
is.
we have it sent out to her, so I'm just waiting to hear. So
J-Lo,
J-Lo.
you're watching. You're getting a lot of love today.
Manifesting.
Yeah.
thank you.
And in the book, Bridget actually gets asked to build a secret S&M dungeon.
Yeah.
Which is something you've done in real life.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was for a woman, a very wealthy woman in New York City, up on the park somewhere, and and she lived in a gorgeous, 10-room apartment, and she was just very into S&M.
Good for her.
And like 50 Shades of Grey on crack. I mean,
No way.
yeah, and it was behind her bedroom. Also, it was a secret,
Yes.
room, and it had all the bells and whistles, including this swing that we had to reinforce into the ceiling with a lentil. It was like a piece of steel. So because she was into larger women.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow, this
My-
story keeps getting
You,
better.
you literally go behind closed doors to
I-
people's intimate parts of their life.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like, I've seen so many different sides of how people live. I mean, I did a lot of work for supermodels, way back, when it was the
Yeah.
supermodel era. And I got to see a lot of interesting things.
That's fun.
Oh, that's so wild. I'm like, where is it? I need to go.
I was thinking of crashing that party, but
Yeah, sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Well, the novel's also very honest about, the sexism in the industry and the corruption. So was it a little bit nerve-wracking to have to include that part of it?
yeah, but I wanted to make it, and that's why it was so important for me to write the story and nobody else, because it's an authentic story. So, you couldn't just develop a story based on what you think. I based the story and a book on what happened. So, yeah, I mean, to get threatened on a job site by people in the union, that happened. Everything that happened that I wrote about in the book actually happened.
Wow.
So whether it was the unions, whether it was corruption, whether it was me being threatened for my life, there was consistently a sign that said men only, and I had to, create my own way of getting in. So, yeah, it was just true. Everything is really true that happened.
Yeah.
Wow. And when did you first realize you wanted to go into construction? Because I feel exactly like what you said. When you see a sign that's men's only, I just wouldn't even bring up the confidence to even try. It's so intimidating.
Well, I went to SUNY Oswego for college, and after I graduated with a degree in finance, I heard my mom and her friends talk around the table that they wanted people to get things done in their home, whether it was hanging a picture, fixing a leaky faucet. I mean, you guys have all been there where, there's the things that go wrong in your house or your apartment and you don't know how to fix it. So I thought of this great idea for a woman to attract other women instead of going after the plumber with the pants, the plumber's crack. I was a cute girl, I was spunky. I was like, let me stand outside of a shopping center with business cards and introduce myself and go up to women, and I listed every home improvement, and I said, I can help you with all these different things in your home, and they would call me. And I would try and look in the local paper for carpenters, electricians, all the tradesmen, and all of a sudden this little business, and I mean little, blossomed into a $100 million business in New York City.
Wow.
That's so inspiring.
Yeah. Speaking of inspiration, what would you say to young women who are interested in getting into it?
I think nowadays it's so much easier because There are courses out there are women's organizations out there, there's so many networking opportunities, and I think, there's people like me that have become pioneers and have forged the way, and I'm constantly trying to answer my messages, my emails, my Instagram, my Twitter, like how do I do it, what do I do? So there's people to give you mentorship and advice and to be there for you. So I always encourage women, like if you want to go into engineering or architecture or construction, like there's definitely an outlet for you to be successful.
Find community.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, absolutely.
So we also know you as a cast member of The Real Housewives of New York City. Congratulations on finishing this season. It really was.
Oh my God.
You survived, and it really was one of the best seasons of the entire 11-year run of the show. So congratulations, it was awesome. You came on as Luann's friend, like her ride or die. Do you think that coming on in that capacity kind of forced women to perceive you in a different way, to not let you in as easily because they were like, oh, she's Luann's friend?
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't know it at the time, but I just did what came naturally, and that is to be like a ride or die. That's who I am. Like I protect the people I love, and I didn't understand that was going to create like this separation. I knew Luann was in a lot of trouble when we first started filming. I mean, she was in a very vulnerable position, so I felt like I really needed to protect her, and that's exactly what I did.
Right.
So did it affect my relationships with the other women? Absolutely.
So were you surprised how, and I'm very happy you and Luann kind of came together at the reunion, how upset Luann got at your just little comments at her show? You've been to 8 of her shows. You just said, she's not the best singer, but I love her performances. Were you surprised how mad she got?
Yeah, I mean, I felt that Luann definitely is quick to get so mad at me when I felt like she forgot what I did. And nobody really understood what I did for her, and this is not common knowledge, being the power of attorney, having to deal with the attorneys, that was a lot. Basically dropping my business and my life to take care of her. So for her to call me out on that and to be so angry with me, I thought I deserved a pass on that.
Yeah.
Or something that is true.
But yeah, she's a great performer. It's a fun show, but she's not Adele, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't show the context of it. It was actually not a friend that I was sitting next to. It was my sister.
Oh.
And my sister lives in London, and she is completely out of the housewife. She doesn't know anything.
So you're filling her in.
Yeah.
So I was trying to fill her in, and I brought her to the show, and she's like, "So what kind of show is this?" And they don't tell the whole story. And she's like, "So is it like Adele?"
Right.
So does she sing like Adele? I'm like, no, and that's when I had to go into it. So
That's a key detail.
That's a key detail they cut out.
yes,
That's
it is
key.
a key to, yeah.
So besides Luann, I mean, we watched Ramona just really grill you like no other.
Yeah.
And I mean, she took you shopping. You seemed to really try with her. And even when Miami was, she not disinvited you, not invited you out. How was it dealing with Ramona? And where does your relationship stand with her right now?
Okay, well, first of all, I'll go from your last question forward. I have no relationship with Ramona. I don't know if you saw the clip recently of this past weekend when she was in the Hamptons and she asked one of the housewives from Potomac to come out of the to get out of the picture.
Giselle, I cannot believe she did. Giselle is one of the legends. She has paved her way for the Potomac women.
I mean, so that just shows you what she is like.
Right.
And then she'll smile for the camera. Like nothing's wrong. Like it's just, like what's wrong? Like I literally think that there was an oxygen deficiency at birth with her. No, like what else can you blame it on?
She's very tough and very, I was very surprised how, because it seemed like you guys have known of each other, similar worlds, that she was very harsh of not letting you into the group.
I mean, I think that you read very well on the show. Yeah. And I just wanted to say, I mean, you spoke briefly about your same-sex relationships on the show. As a member of the LGBT community, I really appreciate...
I'm the B in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean...
There's a reason.
I really appreciate that visibility, especially for a show that has almost no diversity. And it was just great to see. I mean, what did you feel like watching it back and sharing that? Like, what was that experience like for you?
Well, I thought the reaction, I was really disappointed in the reaction. I thought that any anybody's sexuality, no matter what you are, I don't care if you're pansexual, whatever it is that you choose to love, it should be embraced and never criticized. And I felt like I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt like I was criticized because I did fall in love with a woman, and you know, it was almost 2 years that I was in a really amazing, loving, compassionate relationship, and it was the first time that I'd ever been in a relationship with a woman, and I thought that the way they portrayed it was just negative and scandalous. And when you think of like who's bisexual these days, like Rita Ora, Kristen Stewart,
Everyone, you don't have
yeah,
Like, literally everyone.
yeah, and so I thought that they could have embraced it a lot.
I think that's a serious critique of the Real
It's a blind
Housewives show
spot for the show.
because they are, of course, a lot of gay people watch them and fans of them, but when it comes to actual cast members or when homosexuality, bisexuality comes up, they get very nervous and don't know how to deal. So I just want to applaud you because I think you are the first openly queer cast member of any Real Housewives show. So whatever happens, you've paved the way hopefully for the next person to come out and just it be not a big scandalous deal, because it isn't.
It isn't, and especially in this day and age. I mean, and that goes to show again to the sometimes with the housewives, you know, I mean, it's like loosen up. We are.
Well, it dates them a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Well,
and,
exactly.
And I think they should get more with the
thinking,
times.
Kim Zolciak and Daniel Staub both had relationships with women, but the way they handled it was really disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
So you're right. It's like there needs to be some room for improvement in franchise.
And that was the name of my first book, Room for Improvement.
Well, there you go.
Well, there you go.
Well, Barbara, thank you so much for joining us. This really was insightful. We love getting to talk to you. Everyone, make sure to pick up a copy of Heels of Steel wherever books are sold. We will see you all tomorrow, same time, same table. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.